achieved.
Welcome back to Kamikaze Overdrive MMA Predictions. As always, I am your host, Scott Johnson, and on this episode of the show, we're taking a look at the upcoming UFC On FX 8 Brazil card, which will take place on May 18th, 2013. 4 main card predictions, which I will do for you on this episode of the show, and they look fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this card, even with the injury changes. All of my preliminary picks, there's a plethora of preliminary matchups that on this event, for this event, and they will be broken down for you at kamikazeoverdrive.net. I've already got at least one of them up for Hacran Diaz, Nick Lentz, while I'm recording this. Now, as always, the bet packs will be for sale. The public picks will be up, but the Kamikaze Overdrive Prediction Tournament is nearing its start. This will be the final event before UFC 160, and UFC 160 is our kickoff event. I've got a ton of people signed up right now. It's $5, but what I'm going to, and of course at the tournament, all the rules and guidelines are available at the website, but it's a head-to-head prediction tournament, bracket style, all the way to the finals, just like the NHL playoffs, which are going on right now. Go Bruins, go! But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to offer up 2 free spots. And the way I'm going to do it is during the show at some point I'm going to provide a secret word or password. Stop what you're doing. Send me a quick email to kamikazeoverdrive@live.ca with that password included and all your information you need to send, which you can find at the website. And you will be in free of charge. I will contact you right away and either say you're in or say, no, sorry, you weren't one of the first 2. Either way, get them in as quickly as possible, because I know some people sometimes miss stuff, so don't hesitate to send an email. You might just get a spot anyway. But, so again, Kamikaze Overdrive Prediction Tournament kicking off very shortly. As always, thank you very much to all of my sponsors. Head over to Kamikaze Overdrive MMA Predictions for all of the fantastic prediction information you can find for this event. And without further ado, let's get into the first set of predictions. Our opening fight of the 4-fight main card takes place in the UFC's middleweight division in a bout that's been changed multiple times due to injury, as Rafael Natal 15-4-1 battles Joao, the Brazilian Samurai Zeferino 13-4-0, making his official UFC debut. Natal is riding a 1-fight winning streak and has wins in 3 of his last 4, while Zeferino on a significant winning streak, 7 consecutive wins, including picking up a victory over former UFCer Sean Salmon. Now looking at this matchup, Zeferino, this fight's a short notice replacement matchup, which always can be difficult, especially on a debuting fighter. Quick notes about him: he's a Rufus sport competitor, mix of Muay Thai and BJJ, but mainly BJJ, at least the footage I've seen of him. 9 of 13 wins have come by submission, he has 1 knockout. For Natal, we know a lot about him. He's a BJJ black belt. 8 of his wins have come by sub, including his last win. He averages 3.47 takedowns per fight at a 42% clip, but more importantly, a 75% takedown defense, which is going to be key in this matchup, as if he's going to win, if he's going to beat Zeferino, he needs to keep him from getting dominant positions on the mat. But that being said, Zeferino has excellent sweeps, and he attacks off his back and smooth transitions. The guy's very dangerous off his back. He throws a lot of unorthodox throws and takedowns. He likes to punch and clinch. He's a little bit wild. He will more traditional jump on a single leg and drive through. Against Sean Salmon, he completed a nice misdirection trip and then immediately flowed into a leg lock and eventually got the tap. Very smooth, very impressive. And he's very aggressive on his submission attempts, and he'll pick up submission attempts where you don't see him coming. In his last fight, he landed a Darce choker. It was just boom, there it was, and it was all over before his opponent could even react. Now, Natal, against Michael Kuiper, he landed a number of big takedowns, and Kuiper's a judo player. That's impressive, and Natal's got some very good wrestling as well. And his striking, I think, could be a difference maker in this bout as well. He was out-striking Andrew Craig until he got caught and knocked out a little bit overconfident in that bout, and that's going to be one of his keys to success here. He has a decent leg kicking, he has a nice jab, and he's got power, as he hurt Craig a couple of times. He does have 3 wins by knockout. One big thing I'm looking at, too, is he has a full camp to prepare for this matchup. He has an experience advantage, and he can have a size advantage. He's a very, very big 185er cutting down. Now, both guys have been knocked out 3 times, so if either one is able to land, you could see somebody be in trouble. One thing with Zeferino, his recent wins have come over questionable competition, either against terrible records. He fought one guy with an 0-8 record, or inexperienced guys with less than 4 or 5 fights. Natal, for me, appears to be the better striker. If his grappling cancels out or is more effective than Zeferino, that'll shut his opponent down. And I said he could be the better guy in the mat as well, Natal could be. So either way, I think Rafael Natal wins it. Rafael Natal wins this, and I'll take Natal to defeat Zeferino by decision. Our next prediction comes in the UFC's lightweight division. It's Rafael dos Anjos, 18-6-0 battles 14-3-0 Evan Dunham. And this is where the Kamikaze Overdrive Prediction Tournament password comes into play. Send me a quick email at kamikazeoverdrive@live.ca and just give me one of the last 3 men that Dos Anjos has defeated in the UFC, along with your name, contact email, username you want to use in the tournament, and country you're representing. saying, and you will grab one of the 2 free spots for the tournament. I might even open up a third depending on how quickly people send their information in, but do it ASAP and you're in the tournament. Now, Dos Santos has won 3 fights in a row. Evan Dunham has won 3 of his last 4 coming into this bout. Now, both guys are very well-rounded BJJ black belts and with steadily improving striking. This is going to make for a great matchup. Dunham coming out of Extreme Couture and Dos Santos working out of King's MMA with Rafael Cordero, and you can really see the improvements Zardier has made since he made that jump. Now, Dunham, 8 wins by submission, including tapping out Efrain Escudero. Well, Dos Santos also 8 wins by submission, including guys like Kamal Shalaruz and Terry Edom. Dos Santos was subbed by Guida, but that had a lot to do with a jaw injury, not really a true submission. He just couldn't take the pressure anymore. Dos Santos completes 2.89 takedowns at a 38% clip, which isn't overly impressive, but in his last fight, he put Mark Bocek on his butt 4 times, and he also had a success against Anthony Andriquani with 6 straight takedowns, and his striking is improving so much it makes his grappling that much better. Now, Dunham averages a little bit higher or more takedowns per fight at 36%, and he had success against guys like TJ Grant, Efrain Escudero, and Tyson Griffin, completing his takedowns and winning fights with his or at least finding success with his grappling, not against Grant at least. Defensively, Dos Santos 81% takedown defense, Dunham 79% takedown defense, so very impressive in that sense. The question is, if neither one can get the takedowns, who will suffer more? Now, Dunham has been taken down in fights before. Lentz did it twice, Tibau twice, Shirk 5 times. Well, for Dos Santos, Bocek, who has some of the best takedowns in the business, went 0 for 11, and that is very telling of how strong this guy's hips are and how much improved he has become in his takedown defense. Now, the 2 guys I look at, Dunham relies more on his wrestling and takedowns when in tough. Against TJ Grant, he was getting eaten up on the feet, and he had to land takedowns to counteract that. And against Nick Lentz as well, and if he can't keep him down, that's a big issue. Now, on the feet, Dunham does average over 5 strikes landed per minute versus only 2.47, and he's very for Dos Santos, he's very scrappy, he throws nice combinations. But he's a technique-based striker. He doesn't have that one-punch knockout power. He likes to lead with a tricky uppercut, nice jab combined with some head movement. He can be very effective. He will stand and trade, but he got blasted by T-Bone again. If he's on the short end of the power, that's not a good thing. He does have a tendency to show damage in his fights, too. TJ Grant beat him up, and Melvin Gillard did knock him out, so certainly he can be hurt on the feet. Dos Santos improving Muay Thai. He beat Anthony Andriquani. He did use takedowns in that fight, but he also stood and traded with Andriquani and outstruck him, actually hurt him in the early going of that matchup. The Brazilian, lots of movement and footwork, heavy kicks. He's got a powerful inside leg kick, jumping knees, and a push kick, and he will use some knees from the clinch as well if they lock up. One thing I like with Dos Santos, relentless pressure. He keeps attacking in tight and at range if he backs off. His cardio looks amazing. He's looked very well of late. And well done, very tough, very durable, always in a fight right to the end. And we've seen his wars against guys like TJ Grant and Gleison Tibau as well. Now, one thing, Tibau had a lot of success against Dunham until he started to slow down in the early going, so that tells you a little bit about Dunham. Maybe he was having trouble with the power of Gleison. Dunham also has a tendency to be a little bit of a slow starter. He did that against Lentz, and that could cost him here. He needs to do damage with his striking. If he's going to win, he needs to find some success with takedowns to keep Dos Santos from settling in. For Dos Santos, outwork, use his leg kicks, mix in his takedowns, and use that takedown defense to shut down Dunham. TJ Grant's Muay Thai gave Evan Dunham a ton of trouble. I think the speed, technique, cardio, and damage that Dunham absorbs is going to be the difference in this fight. So my prediction is Rafael Dos Santos to defeat Evan Dunham by decision. Moving to the co-main event of the evening, we're in the middleweight division as Ronaldo Jacare Souza, 17-3-0 with 1-0 contest, battles Chris Camozzi, 19-5-0, and of course Camozzi stepping in for Costa Philippou on short notice. Souza has won 3 in a row, including a big win over Ed Herman in his final Strikeforce appearance, with Camozzi 4 straight wins, and you understand why he's taking this fight. He has an opportunity to jump right into the mix in the top 10 if he can beat a guy like Jacare. Now, Camozzi, multiple opponent changes, and Jacare presents a very unique and very tough skill set to prepare for, and he's had limited time to do so. I think it's a big knock against the kid, even though he's taking this fight, and I give him full credit for doing it. Jacare is a dangerous BJJ black belt and a judo black belt as well. 13 of 17 wins have come by submission, and the guy's only getting better. Now, Camozzi, a BJJ purple belt, so far from inexperienced on the mat with 6 wins by tap out, but he's also been submitted 3 times, most recently by Kyle Noak. Now, Camozzi's size could play a factor. He's going to be the bigger man. He's a grinder, but he did have trouble with the speed of Nick Ring. But he was having a lot of success countering as Ring came in. He's just a gutsy, grinding style fighter. I do enjoy watching him battle. 59% takedown defense, which is going to be key for him if he's going to have any success in this bout. But he has been taken down. Catone did it twice. Francis Carmont 3 times. Dong Yi Yang 3 times as well. And he was having trouble with the wrestling of Catone until he cut him in the 3rd round. And I think he was on his way to losing that fight until the doctor stopped the match. matchup. Jacare averages 3.91 takedowns per fight at 49%, which are some decent numbers. He landed 5 against Luke Rockhold and 4 against Robbie Lawler, who are both very talented guys. He's very strong on the ground, very aggressive, really likes to work from that cross-side position. And now, on the feet, Jacare has been drastically improving his striking. He has a KO win over Derek Brunson, which was brutal to watch. Camozzi, on the other hand, he had trouble, as I said, trouble with the speed of Nick Ring, but Nick Ring wasn't landing enough, and that won't be the case here with Jacare. He's going to come forward and be aggressive. Camozzi does have the edge in strikes, landed per minute 4.03 versus 2.16, but the question is, will this fight stay standing long enough for that to take effect? The key to beating Jacare is defend those takedowns, and if you do get taken down, get up quickly, force him to strike, but as I said, his striking is getting better, and that might not be nearly as easy a route to victory as it used to be. The difference is going to be the speed and grappling advantages for the Brazilian. Camozzi doesn't have that one-punch power that he can threaten Jacare with to turn the fight around if he does get behind. He needs to fight a dominant fight. He needs to be in the lead from the get-go and having success and either pick up a decision win, but I don't see that happening. Jacare blasted through a very tough grappler and Ed Herman. I think he'll do the same thing here. So my prediction is Jacare Souza to defeat Chris Camozzi by submission. Time for our main event prediction of the evening. It's in the middleweight division with title implications galore as Vitor, the Phenom Belfort, 22-10-0, welcomes former the last man to hold the Strikeforce title, Luke Rockhold, 10-1-0. Belfort has won 3 of his last 4, coming off a very impressive knockout victory over Michael Bisping, while Luke Rockhold, 9 straight victories, including Tim Kennedy, Keith Jardine, Jacare Souza, some some good names on his list. First and foremost, Rockhold's going to have a size advantage, 6'3" versus 6 foot, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. He'll need to use that to keep out of the range of the very dangerous Vitor Belfort. Now, Belfort, a BJJ black belt, a judo black belt, a Shotokan karate purple belt, so very well versed. 2001 ADCC submission wrestling bronze medalist. And so he's very well versed in a lot of disciplines. Rockhold, though, BJJ brown belt and the IBJJF 2007 dual gold submission grappling champion. So that's, he's very capable as well and far from a novice grappler. At matchup of camps, the American Kickboxing Academy taking on the Blackzilians, and recently the Blackzilians have not had a lot of success, but Belfort, on his own has done well, so we'll see how that plays out. Now, Belfort is dangerous on the mat despite his low submission numbers. We saw him against John Jones lock up that armbar, so if Rockhold elects to try and use his grappling, he's going to have to be very careful and mind his P's and Q's when they do hit the mat. Rockhold, most of his wins have come by submission, which most people don't initially understand. 6 wins by tapping, including tapping out Jesse Taylor. He's working to improve his wrestling, and we have seen Belfort have trouble on the mat before. Anthony Rumble Johnson in the early stages of that fight took him down, and Belfort benefited from some quick stand-ups, which, hey, in Brazil could be the case again. If Rockhold can work his ground game effectively, he could take away Belfort's conditioning and really put him in a bad position after maybe the midway mark of the second round of a 5-round fight, which makes for a long way to go. Rockhold on the feet, very solid kickboxer, averages 3.37 strikes landed per minute versus only 1.41 for Belfort. But I put an asterisk beside that number because, and I'll tell you about that in a second, the reaching kicks for Belfort really add to the distance, and that's very important for him to maintain. He does a nice job of limiting his opponents to only 1.63 strikes landed per minute, which again is important against Belfort, but again, that number could be big enough. Belfort, as I said, 1.41 strikes landed per minute, but he focuses on quality over quantity. He paces himself, looks for openings to explode, and with the exception of the Anderson Silva fight, it has worked. He gets in there, he does the job, he only needs one opportunity to put a hurting on his opponent, and that's what I'm expecting him to look for here at least. Belfort, 15 wins by knockout, 12 inside the first round. And you're looking at strike totals. I said he doesn't put up a lot of big strike totals. 18 versus Bisping, 12 versus Akiyama, 9 versus Rich Franklin. He only needs one flurry to do damage and end a fight. Now, you look at Bisping, he's a veteran fighter, very talented, but he was visibly off his game, and he was hesitating. I think that was because he was afraid, or at least concerned with the possibility of Belfort rushing him and clipping him. Eventually, that's what did happen. Belfort by far represents the most skilled opponent that Luke Rockhold will have faced. Neither Tim Kennedy or Jacare were even close to the threat that Vitor Belfort represents on the feet, and those are the 2 best guys that Rockhold has faced and defeated. In my opinion, Rockhold looked very sloppy in his last fight on the feet against Tim Kennedy, and Kennedy had a lot of success when he was aggressive and rushed him, and again, that's what Belfort's going to look to do in this fight. Belfort's cardio could be a huge issue if this bout goes deep, and that's what Luke Rockhold needs to focus on. Endure, make Belfort work, get the fight into later stages, and then open up. Grind out a round or 2. Now, Belfort will be at home in Brazil. That's a huge advantage. Plus the TRT issue. That's also big for him. He looks like a better fighter when he's on it. Whether it's legal or not, it's another question, but we have to make a prediction based on the fact he will be using it. Rockhold is a very well-rounded battler, grappler, striker. He can do it all, but this is a huge step up in competition. I think Vitor Belfort's going to have success. So my prediction is Vitor Belfort to defeat Luke Rockhold by knockout. So those are my 4 main card predictions for the UFC on Effects event. The rest of the predictions will be available over at KamikazeOverdrive.net. Again, I did provide the password throughout the predictions, so please check out the password for the Kamikaze Overdrive prediction tournament. First 2, maybe even 3 people send me an email at kamikazeoverdrive@live.ca with the correct answer to the question I asked. We'll get in the tournament along with your information. Do it. Even if you're late, get on it. Maybe you'll get a spot, because you never know, I could be looking to round out the tournament. I might need one more person to make an even number, so if you send it to me late, you might get lucky enough to get in that spot. Either way, as always, thank you very much for listening. UFC 160 right around the corner, and I will see you back here for that prediction show.